All right, guys, we are live in the Fox 5 DC newsroom here. I'm Molly Nevola here at Fox 5 Live. You're looking at some aerial footage right now of Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. Check out that heart that those students have created with backpacks on their school field. It is National Walkout Day, School Walkout Day. It is Wednesday, March 14th, and this is being put on by Enough. Check it out right here. This was the official signage, sort of the graphic that they are using for this demonstration. Today is 1 month since the Parkland shooting, and students across the nation, more than 2,800 schools, student groups, are creating these demonstrations, whether they are on campus, in their gymnasium, in school, on school grounds, or outside of school grounds. And right here in the DMV area, we are tracking with our reporters across the DMV, in Maryland, Virginia, and the district, down to the White House, over to the Capitol, where students are going to be demonstrating, and even meeting with some congressmen to talk about protesting gun violence and making a change in Congress. Meanwhile, on the Hill right now, the Senate Judiciary Committee is talking about the Parkland shooting. They're talking about making changes. In fact, they're in a meeting right now as we speak. I'm going to flash over there to show you what they're doing in this committee right here, holding a hearing on the oversight of the Parkland shooting and making some legislative proposals to improve school safety. This is a live look right here inside that committee room. We'll take you there in just a second with some sound. But first, let's get back to these awesome aerial visuals here of Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. We're going to be taking in the feeds from across the nation. Like I said today, the nationwide National School Walkout. Today, just 1 month since the Parkland shooting. Now, interestingly, there are many more marches and walkouts and protests planned for this month and beyond. In fact, in just about 10 days, on the 24th, we're going to be covering the March for Our Lives, which is slated to bring hundreds of thousands of students to the district here, right here to Washington, to protest in their own way. This is a large, burgeoning grassroots movement that is coming to the district, and obviously it's all across the nation. We're going to see kind of what feeds we get in. I thought this was kind of an interesting one. It's backpacks set in a line around in a shape of a heart on their football field. And like I said, many students are demonstrating on campus, maybe in their school gyms, maybe on their football fields. Some teachers are being part of this. They're organizing it. Others are actually physically walking out of their classrooms and walking down public streets and whatnot. And we know that here in the district, we're tracking the students in Maryland and Virginia and in the district who are going down to the White House and to the Capitol to participate in this protest. I thought it was interesting today also, Viacom is interestingly a part of this. They have said that their networks, which include MTV, BET, Comedy Central, they're suspending programming for the 17-minute moment of silence, which is going to take place in about 11 minutes from now at 10 a.m. So we're going to be covering that as well. The moment of silence, of course, to commemorate the victims of the Parkland shooting, and we're going to show you more of that when that happens in about 10 minutes. But interestingly, like I said, Viacom taking part in this, suspending their regularly scheduled programming for those 17 minutes in each time zone so they can honor those victims. We're going to take a look here and kind of stay with this aerial footage of this demonstration in Glen Mills. Before we have more localized stuff, I want to quickly show you too. Check out this tweet from our reporter, Melanie Alnwick, earlier this morning. She was outside of Montgomery Blair High School in Silver Spring, Maryland, and you can see there the students, the very serious, stoic faces there. There are signs. You can read the signage there. Thoughts and prayers, don't stop bullets. Protect kids, not guns. NRA, there is blood on your hands, and we vote next. A lot of students taking this movement to show that they are the next generation, they're the next generation of voters, and they're not going to stop until they create some change. Also today in Columbine, Colorado, students at Columbine High School are going to leave their classrooms to honor the 17 victims, but they will actually do so for 30 seconds of silence, rather. 17 seconds, not 17 minutes, rather. But the Columbine students will do it for 30 seconds to honor the 17 victims of Parkland, and then also the 13 victims of the 1999 Columbine High School shooting. So that is happening across the nation. Lots of more kind of trickling in facts and tidbits coming in from today's events, but we're going to take you straight to the action. Right now, still, those aerials over Pennsylvania. But once we have some more local stuff, we're going to bring that to you guys live from our newsroom here in our digital coverage here on Fox 5 Live. If you're joining us on our feed, welcome. Thanks for joining us, and feel free to come in on the comments. Join us in the live chat. Let us know what you think. If you have any questions or comments, or maybe you're local, you have some connection to some of these schools, maybe you're participating yourself and you're on your phone, whatever it may be, whatever your connection, join us in the conversation, listen in, and let us know what you think. I see some of you guys already on here. Yes, Schultze, I'm here early today. We're up a little bit earlier than usual. This is our YouTube channel here, guys, Fox 5 Live, inside the digital newsroom at Fox 5 DC. If you're not yet a subscriber, join us. Be part of our community for our live and breaking news. Looks like this chopper just kind of sort of zoomed out, and we have this larger scope of aerial footage of what's going on right here. But like I mentioned, we're going to be covering this area-wide and, in fact, nationwide walkout today, which is deemed the Enough National School Walkout. You can see at the bottom of your screen here, students holding that 17-second moment of silence for the victims. Briefly, let me take you over to the Senate Judiciary Committee. They're holding that hearing on creating some new legislation for school safety. Of course, this is the hot button issue of today. This is the hot issue of the week and of the month. And going forward, there are going to be more demonstrations. Even going into April, there will be moments for Columbine. That was on April 20th, 1999. This April 20th, there will also be a demonstration. So lots of stuff happening in these next couple months. Let's jump into that Senate committee hearing to see what they're talking about Parkland. And if we have more aerial views of some of these protests, we're going to bring you that as well.
An assault rifle and a handgun. And all you have to do is talk to the trauma surgeons in Orlando and in Broward County, and they will tell you that a handgun bullet, of which they handle many, they can save their life unless it hits an organ like the heart. But they can't save the life if somebody is hit by an assault rifle bullet, because it's 3 times the velocity and it's 3 times the energy when it hits its target, and it tumbles. And if it hits an organ like the liver, it will pulverize the liver, and it'll come out the other side of its victim as big as an orange. That's the difference between these weapons. When you add an assault rifle with a banana clip that's now got 30 rounds, and by the way, I'm a hunter. I grew up on a ranch. I have hunted all my life. I still hunt with my son. And there are some game that you hunt that you're limited as to the number of bullets or shells. You put a banana clip in an assault rifle and you're out to do massacres, just what we have seen. And it's common sense. Now, I'm a co-sponsor of Senator Feinstein's legislation. What about all the assault rifles out there? Senator Feinstein is absolutely common sense. You can't go and eliminate all of them out there, so her legislation is on a going forward basis. It's common sense to get the assault rifles and the banana clips off the streets. And the other piece of legislation is so common sense, is background checks. There are too many ways to get around it. We actually have a constitutional amendment in the state constitution from the late 90s in Florida that says background checks are mandated, but people get around it by doing the gun shows and the non-federally licensed dealers one to another. They get around it. And so if you require a universal background check, then you're going to catch things. And then you could add what Senator Rubio and I have been trying, the red flags. You could add the restraining orders would be picked up. You could even get at the terrorist watch list, or somebody who had been on the terrorist watch list but was not when they purchased the weapon, like Omar Mateen, that had he had that check, he would not have killed those 49 people in Orlando because he would have been caught in that background check. Universal background checks, common sense. I know the politics here, Mr. Chairman, and it's tough. And of course, what I'd like to see, as I have supported in a bipartisan way with my colleague, any little step that we can get. But at the end of the day, you're not going to stop these massacres until you get at these two common sense things that I've suggested. And oh, would I like it, not only.
Go Lakers! Legalize it. No more.
Hey, this is Annie. I think I just missed a call from someone.
Testing 1 2 3 4 5 level 1 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5.
Audrey, good morning, and things have definitely quieted down during the past 5 minutes. Students were cheering and chanting outside the White House, and now they have taken to the ground, turned their backs towards the White House, and are now sitting in silence. They will lose a lot of along the line 1 month ago in Parkland. Take a look at the scene right here. You can see many of these
Don't start on me.
It's all
Good morning, Maureen. Yeah, a couple of minutes ago, it was really a lively crowd. But at this point, all of the students have sat down here in front of the White House. They've turned their back to the White House, and now they are observing those 17 minutes of silence to remember those killed in Florida. I want to introduce you right here to Gloria. Gloria, if you turn around just for a second, you're from Lake High School in Montgomery County. Tell me why it was so important for you to leave school today to come here to the White House.
I think it was important because it's like, I think it's wrong for how like the shooting happened, and I don't think it's fair for parents to go through it and see their kid, get killed for no reason, and like all they wanted was education. And I just feel like we all have to like put in together for all of us kids to realize that that's not how it should go.
This is a movement happening across the country. Do you really think that there can be some success here when it comes to gun control?
Yes, as long as we all come together and have like multiple people, and this is like school-wide, and we're all like, in the same grade in like elementary, middle school, high school, and we want to feel safe in our school. We don't want us to not feel safe.
And what was the reaction that you got from the administrators at school, your principal, when it came to basically letting them know you were going to leave school and come here to the White House?
My teacher said that it's good to go because a lot of us, we all can have a big voice to come together for us to, to just have a speech, have a voice, and show that we all can make a change.
Gloria, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So what's going to happen now is they're probably have about 15 more minutes of sitting here in front of the White House, very quiet, and then there's going to be a march down Pennsylvania Avenue to the Capitol building where this protest will continue today. For now, we're live at the White House. Matt Acklin, Fox 5 Local News.
All right, guys, if you are joining us on Facebook, welcome to our coverage here at Fox 5 Live inside the Fox 5 DC newsroom. We're watching this 17-minute demonstration, moment of silence here outside the White House to commemorate the victims of the Parkland shooting. Of course, this comes 1 month after the shooting itself on February 14th. That was Matt Acklin there in front of the White House, obviously needing to be a little bit quiet there to respect this moment with all the students there outside the White House. But you can see here, let's bring this back up full picture, tons of people there, tons of coverage, the media coverage and whatnot. Let's go over now to Arlington, Virginia, where Annie Yu, our other reporter there, is standing by to cover what is going on in their high school football field.
Douglas High School. Ahead of today's walkout, students were spreading the word on social media. They were encouraging each other to wear orange today, so you might see some in orange. They also encouraged students to write letters to lawmakers expressing their thoughts on gun safety. And leading up to this coordinated walkout, schools really had to do this balancing act of allowing, how to allow students to exercise their First Amendment rights while not disrupting classes. And Arlington County, they have figured out this way to support students in this really organized way. They have officers out here, they have administrators out here, and they're going to be allowing the students to stay out here for 17 minutes, then get back into their classrooms. And if a student does not return to class or chooses to go off campus, he or she will receive an unexcused absence. And there was also no pressure on students who didn't want to participate. So these are students out here who wanted to take part in the democratic process, and then once 1017 comes, they will be filed back into their classes to resume the rest of the day. That's the very latest here from Arlington. Back to you all in the studio. Okay, cool. Sorry. 17.
Hi, Rudy. Yeah, don't look at the big black. The big black one, yeah?
because that's got white stuff basically. Yeah, so this is got and my little chair, and my portrait right now. Yeah. No, the portrait.
Like I said, guys, this is a look right now outside of the White House where you can see many hundreds of high school and middle school kids, groups who are involved in this national student walkout right here in downtown DC at the White House. And you could tell here from our reporter's tone being quite respectful, a little bit quiet there, because the students are engaged in this 17-minute demonstration, a moment, or rather a 17-minute kind of stretch of silence to remember the victims of Parkland High School. Let me flash down to Parkland High School now. Let's go down to Florida. Take a look. This is Parkland High School here, guys. A live look at their track field, their football field. You can see many, many students there walking out in demonstration in remembrance of their fellow classmates and teachers who were killed just a month ago. This is a nationwide event here, guys, today. It is put on by what they're calling hashtag Enough National School Walkout, same group that organized the Women's March after the inauguration in 2017, early 2017. So look at that wide pan out there of Parkland High School, guys. Take a look here, guys. We're going to be flashing around to different camera angles, different footage from all over the nation. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you have any thoughts or any connection to any of these, do let us know in the comments.
in front of us. Channel 5 can ask one of you questions. Let me ask you, just look at me and tell me if the camera's not there. So, are you a student or?
Yeah, I'm a student at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology at the DC campus.
Oh, okay, great. And how are you feeling about this effort?
I really think there needs to be some change in these gun laws. You know, not abolishing of guns, but definitely some gun control. Definitely stricter laws to have some to get guns, and there needs to be change. People shouldn't be dying, you know, on a monthly basis. Like, I'm becoming numb to this. There must be change.
Can I get your name, sir?
Derek, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Let me get one as we're walking. Hey, where are you from? Can I ask you a question? It's on Channel 5. All right. We're just going to walk with you. What's your name?
My name's Nevola.
And now, where are you from?
I'm from Potomac, Maryland.
What are you thinking about this effort?
I'm thinking about how corrupt our system is right now with lobbying, gun lobbying from the manufacturers, going to the NRA, going to our corrupt politicians. I just think it's really, really bad.
Do you think this effort can really actually help?
I think it could help. I mean, it's the best we can do, really, to get involved in the political process. I mean, that's all we have in America, really.
I know. Thank you, man. I'll grab your sticks. I'll grab your sticks.
The NRA has got to go!
I'll go get them right now.
I'll break them down for you.
Okay, cool.
Can I take a picture?
Yeah.
Look, Roman,
If you guys are joining us here on Facebook or YouTube, welcome to our stream here of the National Walkout. It's National Walkout Day. From coast to coast, teenagers are joining hand in hand to support the students in Parkland High School, who suffered from that tragedy a month ago, the shooting on February 14th. So it is a month later, and you can see here on our feed, this is a live look. Downtown DC, students were at the White House holding a 17-minute moment of silence or demonstration in front of the White House there for just that time. And now it's reported that many of them are going to be marching over to the Capitol to join forces and talk with some congressmen who will be speaking out about gun violence and about protesting change in Congress. You can see we've been jumping around on our feed just a little bit. Many schools participating in demonstrations on campus, in classrooms and in gymnasiums, on football fields, and then also down to South Florida, where we have this live look here at the Parkland area. Stoneman Douglas, we had their high school for a moment. Students lining around the track and field around that football field, hand in hand, in support of each other to commemorate, of course, the victims, the 17 victims. Now, these are not the only demonstrations that are going on. Of course, they're nationwide. We're going to see what kind of video we get in to bring to you about this national walkout. But more demonstrations are planned. In the next 10 days, March 24th is going to be the March for Our Lives, where students across the nation are coming here to D.C. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands reportedly are going to be descending upon DC for that march on the National Mall. And then also later on in the next month, of course, on April 20th, the anniversary of the Columbine shooting, there'll be other demonstrations then. So many walkouts planned. It is reported that about 2,800 student groups or high schools or middle schools across the nation have said that they are involved in today's demonstrations. Our Matt Acklin is there to catch up with some of the students. We'll bring you some of those interviews live and let you listen into some of the protests and the signs and the cheers. We're going to kind of jump around whatever video we have coming in, aerial footage. If you're on Facebook, let us know what you think in the comments, and please do comment on our live chat on YouTube as we continue to cover this national walkout.
There you go.
I can already tell it's them.
Now! Got control! I'm sorry you got stuck in the middle of the road.
I'm like, oh yeah. Wanna hold it? Okay, I got it. Come on.
That's cool.
Right now. Are illegal. Emma, where do you get the because they're like, that's right. That's right. And I think you put so much effort into making this. You know, I just let's go. We're gonna get behind. We need to talk to you first. I'll go by it. Maybe some last again is clear the whole way up with her. They're just going to be in the front lawn. Right? I'm afraid they're going to want to take the ride. Let me call it that. They might say we are. Still in the first name and pen. Third and bad. Third and bad. Okay.
Hey, listen, it's about time for us to bust a move if we're going to the Capitol. Are we going to the Capitol or do you have somebody else there? Oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you. I'm trying to get directions to my desk. Sorry about that. Let me... Oh. Yeah, but what about the live streaming? You know, and if we're gonna go to the Capitol, we gotta let them know we're shut down going to the Capitol.
No guns. Let's support.
Okay, so you can stream that. They should be there in about 10 minutes, the crowd. In fact, they're probably starting to get in there now. All right, we're going to power down. Can you verify or confirm that with somebody? Take.
We are about to power down this camera as our camera crew moves over to the Capitol where the students are walking. You can see towards the Capitol. There it is. It just cut on us. So we'll bring you more coverage as we have it, guys, as we have more video come up. We unfortunately lost our shots from Parkland and some of the other schools around the nation that are participating in this day of protest. But interestingly, guys, this day of protest comes just one day after prosecutors said they will seek the death penalty for Nicholas Cruz for those 17 counts of premeditated murder. Our Melanie Alnwick was over at a high school in Silver Spring, Montgomery Blair High School, and she took this shot. Check it out. These students here with their signs, part of the movement today. Students nationally are participating in this demonstration, joining together from coast to coast to commemorate the students and the staff who were killed in that Parkland shooting just a month ago. We're going to leave you here with this shot, guys, and once we have more, we'll bring it to you on Fox 5 Live here on YouTube.
1 2 1 2. You got me, Steve. 1 2 1 2.
This way, guys. This way. I'm sure they don't have that. That wouldn't have been helping me bring up the change.
All right, guys, we're watching in the newsroom along with you these demonstrations here on Capitol Hill. You can see the throngs of students here with their signs and their chants. This is the one video feed we have coming in right now from Fox. They're sending it to us, and you can see there on the back side of the Capitol, lots of signs, lots of chanting. They are slated to meet with a few Senators Murphy and Van Hollen, and multiple congressmen will be with these students to speak, to have a conversation. We should be getting that live on camera, so we'll bring that to you live here on our YouTube channel. But as always, as you have opinions and thoughts, let us know what you think about these students walking out of their classrooms here. They did so around 10 a.m. to sort of be part of this 17-minute demonstration, moment of silence in front of the White House, and then some were slated to kind of go back into their classrooms, others continuing on in their march in their day for this National Student Walkout, marching up to the Capitol. Of course, we're in the nation's capital, where everything is happening, where they are lobbying Congress to address gun violence. But this is also happening across the nation, really from coast to coast. Teenagers are grabbing hands and doing this together. So as we get more footage in from the students at other schools, we'll bring that to you as well. But interestingly, this actually takes place the same day that Nicholas Cruz will be arraigned again in court at 1:30 Eastern time today in Broward County Courthouse. So we'll see if we can take that live for you as well. But of course, this coming 1 month after the shooting at Parkland, March 14th, signifying 1 whole month since that Valentine's Day tragedy in Florida. You can see we're honing in on some good science here. We're going to keep it here for this feed, let you watch, and then once the senators and congressmen come forward, we're going to make sure we bring that to you live. This is all going on concurrently with the Senate Judiciary Committee, who are inside their committee here, speaking right now to gun law change, to school safety, and talking about that as we speak. So we're going to go back to this full screen here so you can take in the big picture of these students protesting here on Capitol Hill.
Immediately like politicized it and we're like, guys,
let's go. Suck my dick, Donald Trump. We go. Everybody together. Go ahead, go ahead.
gave the order to the Attorney General in a memo, so he seems quite intent on stepping on the gas.
Okay. I'm going to describe a scenario to you and get your opinion on it. Let's suppose that the president and every governor in America called in every one of his, or in the case of governors, her agency heads, and said, look, here's the deal. Some of our people are doing a good job getting information to the database. Some of them aren't. Within 7 days, I want you to fix it. Now, I haven't been up here very long, but I was in state government a long time. I feel pretty confident in saying at least one agency head is going to say, Mr. President or Governor, I can't do that. I don't have the money, or it's not one of my priorities right now, or I'm supposed to go on vacation next week, or can I have more time? Trust me, that'll happen. That's the one you fire. And then the word goes forth that the boss is serious about it. And the information gets uploaded. Can we agree, no disrespect to anybody, that would be more effective than saying, pretty please with sugar on top, do your job, and if you don't, I might take away your bonus?
Yes, sir. Situational leadership, depending on the situation, you have to direct. And I think that's to your point, is that being directing on something that
different things, but we are here as a family because we want something in common, and it is change. Nothing could ever make me forget the feeling that I felt when I saw thousands, because that's what it is, it's thousands of students leaving school because they know what they want. We know what we want more than the adults know what they want, and that is saying something. So I just wanted to say, all of us are MSD strong, and we are going to stay MSD strong, and we're never going to let it happen again.
Alright, so obviously, you know, there's a lot of commotion, there's a lot of chaos, but I just want to welcome everyone in the back. If you guys can hear me, thank you so much. It means a lot, not only just to the MSC students, but those who were lost on that tragic day. Like she was saying, I want to encourage you guys. I want to tell you guys to never be quiet. Always speak your mind wherever it is. And you guys might be in middle school, you guys might be in high school, but we will all soon vote. So please get involved in any way, shape, or form. And if anyone says, or if anyone that discourages you, please don't let them, because we have the power, we have the voice right now, and we will use it in this moment and from now on. And this will not stop. It's been a month and we have not stopped. It's been a month and we have already gotten state legislatures changed. And it's not going to stop. So I want to encourage you guys, and I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being here and for everything, for every single word that you have spoken against the current gun laws and everything that you guys have done. It's truly admirable, because, you know, a lot of adults say, like she was saying, they're just kids. But also, like she said, we are the kids that made change. We are the kids that, after a school shooting, gathered all the pain, all the suffering, and turned it into this. We became a whole after. And unfortunately, it had to be under these circumstances. But I don't think there's anything more heartwarming than this. And seeing every single one of you come out here, leave school, be courageous enough to walk out of where you're supposed to be. But I think this goes more than to show that we do not feel safe and we want change. So please, like I said, never be quiet, always speak up. Thank you.
So really quickly, we're going to have Rabbi Melinda conduct a short prayer. She's here and she brought the mic and speaker. Rabbi Melinda? Oh, okay. Come this way.
Today marks the 30th day of intense bereavement, of grieving and mourning for the 17 souls who were shot, gunned down in the aftermath of the violent shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High. On Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day. May their souls be bound up in the eternal web of life. Together marks the day that 17 attempted murder victims are still recovering from their gunshot wounds. Be positive, be passionate, be proud Eagles. That is their motto. That is the motto that we must stand by for our children. Helen Keller once said, "What we have once enjoyed, we can never lose. All that we love deeply becomes a part of us." Of those who lost their lives and became a part of us, of blessed memory: Alyssa Aldahef, Scott Bagel, Martin Duque Anguano, Nicholas Dorette, Aaron Feist, Jamie Guttenberg, Chris Hickson, Luke Hoyer, Kara Logren, Gina Montalto, Joaquin Oliver, Elena Petty, Meadow Pollock, Helena Ramsey, Alexander Schachter, Carmen Shentrup, Peter Wang. That's more than a mouthful. Of those who are fighting for their lives and are part of us: Anthony Borges, Ashley Baez, William Olson, Keshava Menagopuram, Justin Colton, Alexander Durrett, Genesis Valentin, Daniela Menescal, Samantha Grady, Samantha Fuentes, Isabel Chequer, Samantha Mayer, Benjamin Wickander, Madeline Wilford, Marion Kabachenko, and Kyle Lamon, in addition to English teacher Stacy Lepel. Each of us has a name. Each of us has a name given us by the source of life and given by our parents. Each of us has a name given by our stature and our smile and given by what we wear. Each of us has a name given by the mountains and given by our walls. Each of us has a name given by the stars and given by our neighbors. Each of us has a name given by our sins and given by our longing. Each of us has the name given by our enemies and given by our love. Each of us has the name given by our celebrations and given by our work. Each of us has a name given by the seasons and given by our blindness. Each of us has a name given by the sea and given by our death. And so for a moment we will breathe for those who no longer breathe before we honor their names again and again.
Yes.
Beautiful young lady over here wants to know what she's doing with the stones that I brought. Stones endure, souls endure, but breath doesn't. We have our breath. Some children don't have their breath. So we have these stones to hand out so you can connect to the breath that is no longer available to the children that you know. Go ahead. Pass them around. I'm going to read a poem that was written by Alex Schachter of blessed memory. He wrote it a little bit about a few months ago, so we're going to speak for him in this poem. Life is like a roller coaster. It has some ups and downs. Sometimes you can take it slow or very fast. It may be hard to breathe at times, but you just have to push yourself and keep going. Your bar is your safety. It's like your family and friends. You hold on tight and don't let go. But sometimes you might throw your hands up because your friends and family will always be with you. Just like that bar that keeps you safe at all times. It may be too much for you at times, the twists, the turns, the upside downs, but you get back up and you keep chugging along. And eventually it all comes to a stop. You won't know when or how, but you will know that it will be time to get off and start anew. Today is a new day for all of the children who are here today and all over the country who are struggling with the need to feel safe in the schools. And we want to honor you for being here and your future ahead. May it be empowered by the grace of those who have fallen. May those who have fallen be your angels as you spread what you need to do in this world with healthy and positive change. Amen.
It's something absolutely traumatic and horrible. And I don't want anyone else to have to experience it ever again. It's truly a horrible feeling. And seeing us all standing out here together as one big family, I know that we are going to be the generation that will be the community. So thanks a lot for that. Thank you.
it going. Great job. Thanks for being here.
Here, we're going to get the student speaker and get this started. We're brother. Hi, I'm Aaron.
Aaron, we're going to bring
nice
you all
to meet
down.
you.
We have a lot
Okay,
of members
so we're
coming
going to
in.
have the members come in.
Right. Ted Briggs, thank you so much for doing this. It's amazing.
Thank you, and thank all of you for coming out here. Even though our teachers and administration didn't approve of us for coming here, we thank you. Thank you.
What do you got on my thing? You don't have Nelson. Where you are?
We put our list on us. We put the list together. Why is it Nelson?
If I could have all members of the press, please take 10 steps back. All members of the press, please take 10 steps back. Please back up. We're about to begin the program. Thank you all so much. Testing. Testing. Testing.
Okay, let's roll. We're waiting for a couple more members to show up, and then we're going to. Can I get the student speakers up? Can I get the student speakers come? If I have a student speaker, to the stand right here.
All right, Aaron and Brenna, off to you.
How are we doing out there? This on? Can y'all hear me? Yes? Can you all hear me up there? Can everyone everyone hear me over there? All right, we're gonna get started. How's everyone doing today? Are you ready to stand up for change? Are you ready to say enough is enough? We're gonna bring up Brenda Levitan, a senior at Blair High School, to kick off our program.
Good morning, students of the DMV! Woo! My name is Brenda Levitan, and I am a senior at Montgomery Blair High School and a proud member of Montgomery County Students for Gun Control. We founded this organization a week after the Parkland shooting to give DMV students a voice in the fight for stricter gun control.
Can you tell me to move back? Quiet!
Good morning, students of the DMV! My name is Brenda Levitan, and I am a senior at Montgomery Blair High School and a proud member of Montgomery County Students for Gun Control. We founded this organization a week after the Parkland shooting to give DMV students a voice in the fight for stricter gun control. We have proven that now is the time for change. I am inspired and empowered by each and every one of you who has walked out today. An hour ago, we stood with our backs to the White House for 17 minutes to honor the victims of the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. We remained silent, hands grasped, standing together as one. What Parkland showed us is that this could happen in any one of our schools. And we as students can't take this anymore. We have to fight to create change. We have to stand up against the status quo. And we have to call on Congress and keep calling until they hear our message. If you can speak, speak. If you can march, march. And when you can vote, vote. Our voices matter. And when we stand up, when we speak out, we make it harder for those in power to continue doing nothing. So no more silence. Not one more minute. Today we are doing more than just taking a first step. We are about to hear from powerful student leaders and some of our elected representatives about the fight for gun control. I encourage you to use Twitter, Instagram, social media, anything that you can with the hashtag #EnoughIsEnoughDMV. We want to spread our message much further than just this area. Together, we are taking a giant leap in the right direction. I want to take a moment to say thank you to the national legislators showing their solidarity today. For this reason, I am deeply honored to introduce someone who has been an active advocate for gun control in Congress. Please join me in welcoming House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi.
Good morning, DMV. Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, Brenda Levitan. And thank you to all of the Montgomery County students for your courage to stand up, speak out, and walk out. I'm proud to be here with Yana and Aaron Terrell. Aaron organized with Congressman Ted Deutch of Florida, our leader on this issue, representing in Congress the students who have sacrificed so much, spoken so eloquently, commanded the attention of the nation. Aaron has helped organize the Congressional Solidarity Walkout that all of us are honored to be a part of. Congressional Solidarity Walkout. We're all moved by your eloquence and your fearless insistence on action to prevent gun violence. Thank you for bringing your urgency to this fight to the doorstep of America, the doorstep of the capital of the United States. Our Congressional Solidarity Walkout is here to say enough is enough. Whether Orlando, San Bernardino, South Carolina, Las Vegas, Newtown, Sutherland Springs, Parkland, city streets, homes across the nation, there's been too much violence, too much heartbreak. The American people overwhelmingly support common sense action to prevent the tragedy of gun violence. 97% of Americans support strengthening background checks, including 97% of gun owners. What more do they need to hear? There is a bipartisan path in Congress. We need a vote now. We need a vote now. We need a vote now. And so I want to say to all of you, you are creating with this walkout today and your ongoing challenge to all of us, to the conscience of America, you are creating a drumbeat across America. A drumbeat that will echo until we get the job done. I say to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, no one's political survival is more important than the survival of our children. Let's get the job done. We need the help of young people like you. Thank you for your eloquence, for your courage, for your presence, and for your insistence that enough is enough. We want a vote now. And now it is my privilege to introduce Matt Post, Student Board President, Montgomery County Public Schools. Matt Post. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Matt Post. I'm a 12th grader, the student member of the board for Montgomery County, and I believe that as students, we need to make a few things clear. To start, we will not sit in classrooms with armed teachers. We refuse to learn in fear. We reject turning our schools into prisons. We will accept nothing less than comprehensive gun control. And if it's what it takes, we will shame our national policymakers into protecting us. Not just in schools, but in churches, movie theaters, on the streets, and in the communities of color, which are disproportionately devastated by the sickness of gun violence. The lawmakers who fail to support us, those who look for every answer to our nation's gun problem, but the guns themselves, will be complicit in every death that comes after. To every politician sitting in Congress, working behind us, you get to decide who lives. And so this is not a partisan issue for us. There's nothing cosmetic about life or death. This is about guns, and it's about our morality as a country. When the commander-in-chief's solution to this country's gun problem is more guns, you know we have a moral problem in this White House. When national policymakers value the blood money of the NRA over the lives of children, you know we have a moral problem in the halls of Congress. And when this is doomed to happen again, when in the coming weeks and months, more of my peers will be slaughtered in their own classrooms, when their deaths will be dismissed as collateral, you know we have a moral problem in this country. So let's make one last thing clear. Their right to own an assault rifle does not outweigh our right to live. The adults have failed us. This is in our hands now. And if any elected official gets in our way, we will vote them out and replace them ourselves. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Now it's my pleasure to introduce a senator who has fought for us and fought for this cause for a long time, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Let's hear it for Matt and his great words. Now, folks, 1 month ago, 17 Americans, 14 children were killed at Stoneham. Let us remember them. Let us remember the thousands upon thousands of children who have died at the hands of gun violence. Yesterday, there were 7,000 pairs of unworn shoes here on the east front of the Capitol, representing 7,000 kids whose lives could have been before them. 7,000 kids who died of gun violence only since Sandy Hook. Enough is enough. Now, I've been through these wars. I am the author of the Brady Law and the assault weapons ban. The NRA has made me public enemy #1, and I'm proud of it. And we've been fighting for 10 years. Every time the vice-like grip of the NRA on the necks of some of these politicians has succeeded. But this time it won't. You want to know why? It won't. Because we have you. And together, we're gonna win. 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 Don't give up the fight. We will win. And now it's my honor to introduce a great senator who has worked so hard after it was in his state that the horrible violence of Stoneham Douglas occurred. Your great senator, fighter for rational laws to keep us safe, Senator Bill Nelson of Florida.
Okay, you know we are grieving in Florida, and now you are giving voice to that grief. And when you march on March 24th, it's going to be a visible expression of the grief that we've been through. It's common sense that we should have universal background checks. And it's common sense that we should get the assault rifles and the banana clips off the streets. Keep on marching and keep on speaking out. Thank you. God bless you.
Hello. My name is Nate Tinbite, and I'm a student at John F. Kennedy High School, Montgomery County, Maryland. 25 years ago, my parents immigrated to Montgomery County because they believed in the promise of this country. They told me about their hardships that they faced in their native country. And their education system, one supposedly not as developed as ours, they didn't have enough papers and pencils for the students. Yet through all the lack of resources, through all their struggles, they never had to worry about someone barging into their classroom with an assault rifle and slaughtering everyone in their class. That is an American tragedy. They never had to think about getting shot at any moment. That's an American thought. And they never had to worry that their child would be the victim of a mass shooting. That's an American worry. In the United States, we have archaic gun control laws for a 21st century reality. We've known the solution since Columbine, but despite there being more than 200 school shootings since then, Congress has done nothing. We have to keep weapons of war from everybody and expand upon our mental health resources. The solution isn't arming teachers, nor is it to arm more people. And my parents believed in that as soon as they moved to this country. Together, we will get stricter gun reform because it is the right thing to do. We will expand background checks because it is the right thing to do. And we will optimize our psychiatric evaluations because it too is the right thing to do. Our lives are worth more than the millions of NRA dollars dumped into political campaigns. And on these issues, let me be clear, there is no compromise. We are not seeking a Republican solution or a Democratic solution. We are seeking an American resolution. So let's revive the belief that individuals like my parents had in the promise of this country so that we can remove these profound feelings of fear and anxiety in what should be our safest institution. Thank you. And it is in this spirit that I am delighted to welcome Senator Murphy, Senator Blumenthal, and Representative Esty. Thank you.
Good job. Good job, Nate. Good work, baby.
How we doing, Washington, D.C.? Let me tell you what happened in my life yesterday. My 6-year-old went to his kindergarten class yesterday and got locked in a bathroom with 24 of his classmates for an active shooter drill. That should never happen in the United States of America. No one should have to go through that. And I just have a couple simple questions for the people here, for the students here who are going to lead this movement. I want to know, are you prepared to do whatever it takes to beat the gun lobby? Are you going to hold every single person in this building accountable for your safety? Are you going to vote out of office the people who take the gun lobby money and put your safety at risk? Are you, the students of America, going to lead this movement to victory? There is no great social change movement in this country that has not been led by the youth of America. And I just have one simple message for you. It is not going to be easy. There are going to be defeats before you reach final victory, but also defining of the great social change movements in this country is that the ones that saw adversity and pushed through it are the ones that we read about in our history books. And so by answering yes to all of those questions, I know in the end that we will beat the NRA, that we will kick out members of Congress who don't listen to you, and we will deliver change in the end.
We have anybody here from Connecticut? We do, great. I'm Richard Blumenthal, and I'm proud to be the United States Senator from Connecticut with Chris Murphy, and to be here with Elizabeth Esty, our great congressional colleague. And if it were up to me, I would give every one of you an A. America owes you an A as your grade for today. Now, I'm actually proud of the grade that I got from the NRA. It's an F grade. And the reason it's an F grade is that for 2 decades, I have fought for sensible common sense measures against gun violence. But I have never felt as close to victory. I have never felt as close to victory as we are today because of you, because you have the energy and passion not just to walk out of school, but to walk into this building and make change happen. That's what it's going to take. So let me ask you, are we going to ban assault weapons? Are we going to have universal background checks? And are we going to give parents and law enforcement the right to take away guns from people who threaten to blow up schools or kill people? We need to remember that change has always come because of young people in the civil rights movement, in the anti-war movement, in the marriage equality movement, and in today's movement. It is a movement. Are you willing to be part of it and fight to the end? Yeah! Well, long after we're gone, you're going to remember this day, and America will remember that you were here. Thank you so much for your energy and passion. We will win. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth. Okay, we're going to work.
Testing. Testing. Okay. Can I see this?
See if that one works. Is it on now? Is it on now? Wait, or is this on? I think it's. Is it on now? No. No. Okay. Is bullhorn working? Is it work? Did you test it? Is it working?
Testing. Can you hear me?
Okay. Great. All right. Can you hear me? Is this working? All right. All right. Is it working? Yes. Okay. My name's Elizabeth Esty. I'm wearing green for the 6 and 7-year-old kids who were killed in my district in Newtown, Connecticut. But you, the Parkland, Newtown generation, you are making the difference. You are America's leaders because you know enough to say, we got to do better. Democracy's got to do better. Like, democracy is about the will of the people. 97% want these laws changed, and what is this place doing? Nothing! And what are you gonna do? Change! We're gonna change the law, or we're gonna change who's in Congress. We can get to... They keep running? All right. Is this running?
I got my badge right here. That's fine. You're not going to reach around. And no, I wasn't. I was just trying to.
Country are leading the nation, and the Congress has got to follow what you are doing. All across this country, People are sick and tired of gun violence, and the time is now for all of us together to stand up to the NRA and to pass common sense gun legislation. So I just want to thank all of you for your courage and for your intelligence and for leading the nation in the right direction. Thank you all.
Too young to speak for themselves, but your high school students, you need to call this Congress to account. And you know what? We change the laws in Congress, or we're going to change Congress. Yeah. And you are going to lead that charge. The folks in this building, they can lead, they can follow, or they can start looking for new jobs. Thank you for what you do. And it's my pleasure to announce Emily from Einstein.
My name is Emily Dolorolas. I go to Albert Einstein High School. Yes. I'm going to start off with a request from you all. Raise your hand if you feel unsafe at school. Look around. And yet, they don't understand why. They don't understand why we're here today. They don't understand why we were here 3 weeks ago. They don't understand why we were asking for stricter gun laws. They don't understand why we want stricter background checks. They can't wrap their heads around the fact that teenagers all across America are taking charge and leading this movement. And they don't understand that we are not going anywhere until we see change in our system. We, the people, have a responsibility to protect our own. And we, the children, have taken it upon ourselves to push you, the adults, in that direction. Because it is not simply about gun control anymore. Oh, here.
There you go. Okay.
Because this is, wait. Okay. Because this is not simply about gun control. This is about human life. This is about the children who have lost their lives to gun violence. So I ask our Republican lawmakers, is their right to have a gun more important than our right to live? We're not here to take away the Second Amendment. We are here to make sure that those who are not fit to carry a weapon do not carry a weapon. On average, 46 children and teens are shot every day, and out of those 46, 7 die. And so I ask again, is their right to carry a weapon more important than our right to live? No! Since January of last year, our country has been more divided than ever, but the people have had enough. The activist community has been very prominent. We have the Black Lives Matter movement, the immigrant rights movement, and now we all come together for this gun control movement. This movement does not limit to one race or ethnicity because it affects us all. And I'm here as a Latina to say that minority communities should not feel as though their voices do not matter in this because our communities have been dealing with this issue for so long. Y para mis hermanos y mis hermanas de países hispanohablantes, yo como estudiante latina activista en el movimiento por la justicia social, hago un llamado a mi comunidad latina para que luchemos juntos por la seguridad de nuestros estudiantes. Así como el movimiento de jóvenes inmigrantes se han unido para luchar por el derecho de vivir en el país que ellos llaman su hogar, hoy les pido a la comunidad latina que se unan a este movimiento por el control de armas. El problema de armas también nos afecta a nosotros, que somos minoría y que vivimos en lugares inseguros. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Representative Gutierrez from Illinois.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you, Emily. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for allowing me part of this process. I want to start with a quote. Quote, we are not talking about weapons designed for hunting or sport. We're not talking about those designed to kill human beings. And it's about time we stand up and say we will not allow them in our communities. That was from the Chicago Tribune in February of 1993. 25 years ago, almost to the day. The article has the headline, New Congressman Takes Aim at Guns. Well, the new congressman was me. And 25 years ago, one of my proudest moments as a freshman congressman was to vote for an assault weapons ban. Now, we need action and not talk. And we need laws, not nice thoughts and prayers. We need safety and security, not safe talking points that secure people's re-election. It was 25 years ago when I was quoted. None of you were born. Yet, we're all still here. And after a decades-long assault weapons ban expired, still asking the people in that building behind us to adopt common sense policy to keep Americans from shooting and killing other Americans. 17 killed in Parkland in just a few minutes. In Chicago, 400 shot just this year alone through March. And last year in my city, 600 murdered. It's a national tragedy. Even so, we have tough gun control laws in our city. But let me tell you something that's changed from 25 years ago. And it's not just that I'm a senior citizen now. I look at the crowd and I see the future. I see you. And I came here to say thank you. Because I know you will accomplish what I and others have failed to do. And I thank you on behalf of my own grandson, Luis Andres, who today is taking his 17 minutes outside of his school. I thank you because of you. You are guaranteeing his future and the future of all of Americans. And I know you know this one, and we will chant it together. Si se puede! Si se puede! Y quiero decirle a todos ustedes, I want to tell all of you, because I know that there are dreamers walking among you and are your classmates. March for them. March for safety. You know why I'm before this microphone? Because Black lives matter and Black people gave up their lives. Because in the 60s when I was in high school, there were Black Americans who marched and defied the system and said we needed voting rights and we needed equal rights. And I have this microphone. Así que para todos, entendamos algo. El futuro es nuestro porque los jóvenes van a dictar ese futuro. You know, in 1972, I got the first chance to vote. They reduced it from 21 to 18. I think that was a smart decision. I think a smart decision is rethinking once again, lowering the voting age so young people can change this country around. Thank you. Y sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Great job, Lexi.
Everybody hear me? Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, Michael!
My name is Michael Solomon. I'm a sophomore at Springbrook High School. And before I start, I want to thank everybody who's helped us, all the individuals and all the organizations. We couldn't have done this without you guys. But most of all, I want to thank every single one of you out here, because you guys are the fuel that the engine of this movement needs to run on. I want all of you to know that you're all on the right side of history for this. Now, personally, I'm glad to take part in a powerful nationwide movement like the one that we're participating in today. But we can all agree, in an ideal world, none of us would be here. In an ideal world, the 21st graders and kindergartners who died in Sandy Hook would be in middle school today. In an ideal world, the 58 concert goers who were gunned down in Las Vegas would have gone home and returned to be with their families. In an ideal world, the 32 students who died at Virginia Tech would be employed professionals, and the 17 victims from Stoneman Douglas would probably be eating lunch at school right now, and the only thing they'd be worrying about was a test for next period. But unfortunately, this isn't the case. Unfortunately, we live in a country where lawmakers are more concerned about their contributions from the NRA than they are about the lives of their own constituents. And thanks to people like them, you and I have to go to school every day and wonder in the back of our minds if we'll even make it to graduation. That shouldn't happen. So, this will go on for no longer. We, the students of the United States, have a message for all of you in Congress. If you don't give us stricter background checks, heavier restrictions on AR-15 style weapons, and easier access to mental health institutions and resources, you will pay dearly at the ballot box. By this November, most of us are 18 today. And the rest, a lot of us will also be 18 by November, and that's when midterm elections start. So I can promise you this: do your jobs, give us concrete solutions, and for once, value our lives over your bank accounts, or we will vote you out. And I want everyone to remember, everyone here, everyone watching this, this is not an excuse to skip school, nor is it a pointless effort that will bear no fruit. I urge everyone here, everyone watching to remember history, to remember that the protests and the March on Washington during the Civil Rights Movement brought us the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act of the 60s. I want everyone to remember that the protests from the women's suffrage movements gave us the 19th Amendment. And so on and so forth. I want all of you to know that all of us
will join their ranks in the history books, because we too will remain persistent until there is real change. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Senator Van Hollen and Senator Cardin.
Thank you, Michael. Do we have Montgomery County, Maryland in the house? This time, it will be different. America is listening to your voices and the students around the country. When it comes to gun safety legislation, you will not take no as an answer. You will demand that we have gun safety because it's your future and America's future. That's what's at stake. I'm proud to be on your team, along with my colleagues, and make it clear, we will demand comprehensive background checks for anyone to buy a gun. We want the end of the assault-type weapons in America. And we don't want any more guns in our schools. Your voices must be heard. We are so proud of the students from Maryland that are here. We're proud of the students around the nation. We look forward to joining you on March the 24th. America will know, and America, we must act.
To the students of Maryland, to the students of this region, to students all over America, we have a simple message to all of you, which is know your power. You can change the direction of America. You are not only the future of America, you are the conscience of America, and you are here to ask America to do the right thing. You are here to say that it is unacceptable in America for students to be slaughtered in their schools. It is wrong in America for people to go to concerts and end up in carnage. And it is unacceptable in America to see the daily toll of gun violence on streets throughout our country. Earlier this morning on the floor of the Senate, Senator Cardin and I read the names of victims of gun violence in Maryland, including 17 young people, people under 20, who were victims in Maryland just in the last year. People from all over our state, like people all over the country, are crying out and saying, we are mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. We've got to get assault weapons off of our streets. We have to have universal gun background checks. The answer is not more guns in schools. Teachers should be armed with knowledge, not with weapons. Now, just the other day over at the White House, when the cameras were on, the chief executive asked the question, who's afraid of the NRA? Well, we found out that he was afraid of the NRA. But are you afraid of the NRA? We need to make sure that every member of Congress, Republicans, Democrats, people of all political stripes, are more afraid of the next school massacre, that they're more afraid of the next death on the streets of our country, more afraid of that than they are afraid of the NRA. And you, the student movement, are what's going to make it happen. You are what's different this time. And so I have one simple question, because the NRA and the gun lobby and the cynics, they're counting on all of you to just go away after today. Are you going to go away? No! Are you going to be back here on March 24th? Yeah! Are you going to make sure we fight every week and every month and every year until we have safe America? Let's go get them.
Guys, you're watching our continued coverage here of the National Student Walkout. We're going to jump back in to hear from some of these students, but both Democratic senators from Maryland, Senator Cardin and Van Hollen, just spoke. On the right side of your screen is a live look over Columbine High School in Columbine, Colorado. They're participating in their own demonstration, their own walkout to, of course, remember the victims of the April 20, 1999 shooting at Columbine, and then in addition, taking 17 minutes for the victims of Parkland 1 month ago today. Let's check back into this rally. This is outside the Capitol on the West Lawn. Let's listen in.
Is lending us his voice today. Ladies and gentlemen, award-winning poet Joseph Green.
Sorry. How's everybody doing today? I am honored to be here. My name is Joseph Green, and I am a poet, an activist, an educator, and the youth program coordinator at Split This Rock, a national arts and social justice organization. But I am not only that. I'm a black man. I am a father. And I have been charged with the mission of creating space for young people in a city that has been plagued with gun violence for far too long. I see before me today a generation of youth pissed off and ready to take on the realest issues of our time. And I know that each of you is knowledgeable enough to understand that America's gun violence epidemic did not start in the suburbs and is not isolated to our schools. You know that organizations like Black Lives Matter and the Black Youth Project and dozens of others have been fighting for gun violence in places where the outrage are not afforded the same acknowledgement of their humanity or levels of external support as we are privileged to have here today. If this movement does not come out of the suburbs, if it does not speak to domestic violence and toxic masculinity, if it seeks to protect and serve some and not others, if it attempts to demilitarize the public but not the police, if it only succeeds in increasing the safety of those who already have advantage, then it will not work. Our potential is only realized if we choose to embrace and support our intersections. Together is the only way forward. I've been asked to do a poem here today. This poem is dedicated to my 4-year-old son and everybody that's been fighting for Black lives. Today, I am doused in guilt, and I don't know what to do with these hands. Facebook and Twitter have told me that my friends have joined together in digital solidarity to fight for our rights, or for your life, or so that this never happens again. Photos from the front line of our most righteous of selves, inspirational memes, and hashtags. I realize this has happened before. I wonder if I listen to the recording of your murder, will I feel anything different? To me, your life and death is no more than a Facebook update, a trending topic on Twitter. Hashtag, I hope somebody is still praying for your mother. Hashtag, insert your child's name here. Hashtag, all black bodies look alike until they're murdered. I am overwhelmed by the irrational ranting of a society too busy arguing about whether or not black lives are important enough to fight for, to actually fight for black lives. But as I stand here ranting, I realize it's because I don't know what to do with these hands that must hold and protect my son. They are not bulletproof. They are made of the same brown material that have seen so many murdered. But before I bow at the altar of suburban flight, I realize that somewhere somebody is still crying for you. that somewhere a black mother is gathering all the suspicious clothing her children own, dressing the scarecrow in the front yard, and burning our post-racial society in effigy, that somewhere a black female is being followed in a Macy's on suspicion of being black, that somewhere, hands up, please don't shoot, that somewhere, why did you shoot me? You told me to get my ID, that somewhere, please don't shoot, it's only a, that somewhere we still can't breathe, that somewhere they are toasting the man who did this to you. And the clans are gathering, only this time they won't be wearing hoods. They'll be dressed in suits, cloaked by law, charged with progressing the doctrine that if you do not look like you belong here, you can be murdered. That if you look like you belong here, you can be murdered. I will not always be able to protect my son. I pray that by then, black children and fear, black women and violence, black trans and assault, black queer and endangered, black male and thug, black bodies and deceased is no longer a synonym. At night, when I take my 4-year-old son's clothes off, I say, "Hands up, Henry." He thinks we are playing a game. I pray that when his time comes, he will know what to do with his hands. Thank you. Keep fighting. Power to the people.
My name is Sam Simpson, and I work at the Pride Fund to End Gun Violence. When the LGBT community gets behind an issue, we get things done. We stand behind you guys in this fight to pass an assault weapons ban and to enact gun control for our schools in America. Okay. Pulse was the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. I don't need to tell you that America has had endured hundreds of mass shootings since, including Sutherland Springs, Las Vegas, and now Parkland. This carnage has to stop. We need a comprehensive approach to address this public health crisis that kills thousands of Americans each year. As we gather here a month after the 17 students and teachers of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School were gunned down, it is important to discuss the impacts of gun violence in America. All you have to do is look at the numbers to be astounded by how little Congress is doing in comparison. Republicans in Congress continue to take campaign contributions and align themselves with the NRA while towing their line. These are the same Republicans that tell you there's nothing we can do to curb the toll of gun violence. Thousands of people, that's the price we pay for inaction. Since 2012, over 77,000 people were killed because of gun violence. Every year, the number of gun-related fatalities increases by at least 1,000. You look at these numbers on a micro scale, and it's even more heartbreaking. On average, 93 Americans a day are killed by gun violence. However, the NRA thinks Americans need military-grade assault weapons and large-capacity magazines, weapons exclusively designed to kill as many people as possible in the shortest amount of time. America's gun homicide rate is 25 times higher than the average of any other developed country. Aren't we supposed to be leading the rest of the world when it comes to quality of life we ensure our citizens? Is this how you make America great? Perhaps we need less uninformed tweets and more fact-based legislation. Despite overwhelming pushback from educators and people with real, tangible experience in classrooms, President Trump, Secretary DeVos, and the NRA are working to arm teachers rather than address the actual issues causing gun violence. Schools are places of learning, not war zones. In our fight to take our communities and our safe spaces back, we have the opportunity to work with many of the members of Congress who stood here today. It is imperative that we recognize and applaud these leaders for standing up in the face of hate and taking action. It is because of your action walking out today that anything is even happening. The entire country is listening. Don't hold back. Come November, make change happen.
My name is Jennifer Stein, and I'm a volunteer with the Maryland chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. But today, I'm here in my own capacity to speak to you as the concerned mother of 2 BCC high school students. I'm so honored to be here today with some of my heroes. And do you know who I now count among my greatest heroes? The students of America who are shouting in unity, enough! You have taken up the fight of a lifetime, demanding that your leaders put your safety, the public safety, ahead of the greedy gun manufacturers' lobby. That is a wise and noble goal indeed, and I applaud you. We all know, don't we, that it's possible to have both the Second Amendment and common sense gun laws, such as universal background checks. They are not mutually exclusive. This is called gun sense, and some of our leaders have it, and too many of our leaders do not. So I'm the mother of 2 teens, but you don't have to be a mother or even female to be a mom. Being a mom is a state of mind, an instinct. Moms love and care about our children, all our nation's children, and want to protect them from the evil in the world. That's called being a mom. And you know what's evil? When our elected officials put the interests of gun manufacturers ahead of the public safety and the safety of our children. That's evil. So what can be done at the grassroots level? We don't have to accept the status quo, and here are some new rules. 1, register to vote. In Maryland, you can register when you're as young as 16 years old. My 16-year-old daughter just got her learner's permit and registered at the MVA. Yeah. Tell your classmates and friends to register to vote. Go to turbovote.org and register there. 2, pledge to be a gun sense voter. This means that once you are old enough to vote, you will go to the polls and cast your vote on a single issue, gun violence prevention. Please know that your vote is powerful and it belongs to you. Use it to fight for a safer future for you and your children. 3, find out how much money your lawmakers have accepted from the NRA. If they take... It's an important one. If they take money from the gun lobby, is it any surprise when they vote just the way the NRA wants them to vote on legislation? We must hold our elected officials accountable for their actions or their inaction when it comes to common sense gun reform. And when you're old enough, run for office yourself as a gun sense candidate. In the meantime, volunteer, either to work on a gun sense candidate's campaign or with a gun violence prevention group. So as an admittedly uncool mom of 2 BCC high school students, one who participated in the walkout on February 21st, and the other who I think is here somewhere today, I just want to thank Brenna and Montgomery County students for gun control for inviting me to come here to talk to you about gun violence prevention at the grassroots level. I hope you know by now that it is also a mom's role to support you and give you advice and guidance. Maybe you don't agree with everything we say. Maybe you go ahead and do whatever you want anyway. That's called being a teenager. But if gun violence prevention is your cause, your issue, I think I speak for all of the moms who are here when I say, we are here for you. And finally, I just want to thank you all for being the true adults in the room when it comes to the disgraceful epidemic of gun violence in this country. Like the civil rights heroes of yesterday, history will judge you kindly. And as for the adults, including the adults that work in this building, who failed to protect you and sold you out to the gun lobby, they will be judged harshly and with scorn. And I hope to see you all back here in D.C. on the 24th for the March of Our Lives. Thank you.
Guys, look what you have done! Look what you built! And I don't want anyone to silence you after today. Don't let anyone water down your message. You fight for what is right. You fight for what you believe in. Because how many of you are going to be able to vote in 2018? How many of you are going to be able to vote in 2020? We have listened to some amazing speakers here today. But all of you are going to be the leaders of the future. And while we've seen so many leaders who show us that gun violence prevention is their priority, there are too many in this building behind us that do nothing to keep you all safe. But here's the thing. We need you to vote. Because we need to change who is in this building. But that's not enough. We need you to become the next generations of leaders. This is going to be your world. This is going to be your future. And we don't need you out here. We need you in there. And so I think that we should send a message to Congress. I want everyone to repeat after me. Can you hear our screams? Can you hear our screams? Can you hear us shout? Can you hear us shout? We'll take it to the voting booth and we're going to vote you out. Let's get this done. What's up, everyone? Can you hear me? Yeah, good? Okay. My name's Ari Shea. I'm a freshman at Quince Orchard High School. Thank you. Some people believe that stricter gun control wouldn't do anything. But after the Port Arthur shooting in Australia, it took only 3.5 months for laws to be passed that resulted in 0 massacres. Growing up, I had the privilege to live in Japan, which is a country that has the lowest violence rate in any developed country. However, you do have the right to own a gun in Japan. But in order to do that, you must take a class, take a shooting range test, pass a mental health exam, drug test, and finally pass a comprehensive background check. The requirements are extensive, but it pays off. There has never been a mass shooting in Japan, ever. Other countries made these laws to protect their citizens, and it works. We know that we don't have to live like this in the U.S., and our children don't have to die like this. I see myself in those students from Parkland, those teens we see over and over again on the TV running out of the schools with their hands on each other's shoulders. It could have been any one of our schools, and it still can be. Why are our lives at stake? Why do we have to worry about our friends, our teachers, our families? Why do my parents have to wonder whether both their kids will make it home? Why do I have to worry about walking into my high school in the morning and being wheeled out just a body in a bag in the afternoon? America is a country built on persistent ideas that lead us forward. I'm proud to be an American, And I march not only because I love my country, but also because I will fight for my country. And I will fight until our kids can go to school and be able to come home unharmed. I will fight until gay people can go to a nightclub and just have a good time. And I will fight until we are no longer afraid. The congressmen and women that are being paid by the NRA to keep their mouths shut or oppose stricter gun control are stalling this country's progress.
That's right.
When I was young, I used to look up to the officials in our government, believing that they would always do what was right for the American people. But now they're the ones failing to create the laws we need, and we're the ones paying the price. But I promise you this, if they fail to make gun control laws, then in a couple years, when they're voted out, we will.
Hi, my name's Jamie Raskin, and hello, Maryland. Hello, Washington. Hello, Virginia. You know, we brought a chant from Montgomery County I thought I would teach my colleagues today. It goes like this. Hey, hey, NRA, you can't beat the SGA. Hey, hey, NRA, you can't beat the SGA. Hey, hey, NRA, you can't beat the SGA. You know, a lot of people are saying, what are you young people doing here in the middle of school day? And it's very clear what you're doing. You're changing America. You're leading America. Because you are America. That's who you are. And they wonder what gives you the right to do that? Well, guess what? It's the amendment that comes before the Second Amendment. The First Amendment is what gives you the right to be here today. And the Supreme Court said in 1969 in Tinker versus Des Moines, neither teachers nor students shed their First Amendment rights at the schoolhouse gate. You've got the right to speak. You've got the right to protest, and you're doing it. And you're doing it. And that right is only limited if it's going to create a disruption of the educational process. But you know what's creating a disruption in the educational process? It's not the students, it's the NRA and the politicians who won't act to promote gun safety. You are standing up for safety, you are standing up for order, and you are standing up for real education in America. And you're here because you read your Mark Twain, who said, never let your schooling get in the way of your education. Are you going to forget the young people slaughtered in Parkland? No. Are you going to forget the people slaughtered at Pulse? No. Are you going to forget the young people slaughtered at Sandy Hook? No. Are you going to forget the young people slaughtered at Columbine? No. Are you going to forget the people slaughtered in Las Vegas? No. The people in San Bernardino County? No. The people being killed every day by handgun violence? No. Are you going to lie down and let the NRA roll all over you? No. Are you going to take back America? Yes. Are we going to pass a ban on assault weapons? Yes. Are we going to pass a universal criminal mental background check? Yes. Are you coming to march on Saturday, March 24th? Yes. Are we going to win this campaign? Yes. And now we're going to do it with you. Thank you for changing America.
Hello. My name is Christian Crawford. I am 17 years old. I have just recently gotten into college, and I am looking forward to my future. However, I can't do that without thinking about how quickly it can disappear. Her name was Jamari Sidnor. She was 17 years old. She was 10 days away from starting college. She was looking forward to her future. The difference between me and her is that a stray bullet hit her in the head while she was driving one of her family members home. A stray bullet that wasn't meant for her. On a street that she had driven down many times before. I found out at work during my closing shift. And when I mentioned it to my coworker, he said that he understood, that he's had this happen to him before, that usually he needs to sit down when this type of thing happens to him. No emotion, just a fact, just a reality. He's only a few years older than me, and that reply did not seem real. I didn't believe that this is how we console each other in a supposedly civilized country. We've become so numb to the issue of gun violence that we have a big population of young people who find it all routine to empathize with their friends being murdered. How many will it take? This is what we say to each other. How many will it take? Like this is some science experiment that we have to repeat over and over again to come to a conclusion. We've had enough evidence that there needs to be change. We have had enough evidence for a while that there needs to be change. We don't need further evidence. We don't need to debate this. We do not need to have more people die, more children. We need change. I'm entering a time in my life that Jamari never got to see. I am going to graduate high school soon, something that those 17 kids from Marjory Stoneman Douglas will never get to see. At least I hope I get to see these milestones. I go to school each day, and on some days I think about which windows I will jump out of if my school were the next example of a broken system. I think about how promising college seems, how promised it is after I paid my matriculation fees, but it's not. This is the mindset that students around our country are forced to experience because our lives don't outweigh money or votes. Colloquial wisdom states that if something is important to you, you'll find a way, and if not, you'll find an excuse. That's why we will find a way when we are faced with many excuses. Saying it's because of video games as if America's the only country that plays them. Saying that gun control won't stop killings as if it won't stop some. As if one more person might be able to live their whole lives. As if one more graduating class might be able to finish high school without a tragedy. We have voices to speak for those who cannot and will never be able to. Some of us will be 18 by next November to vote, and we will vote in honor of those who cannot and will never be able to. We will not let money carve tombstones. Never take your friends for granted because you never know when you might be seeing them for the last time. I'm sorry that this is the wisdom I have to leave you with, but this is a fact. This is our reality. But it does not have to be. I would like to introduce Representative Deutch from Parkland.
Afternoon, everyone. It's a little cold outside here today, but I want to tell you, as the representative of Marjory Stoneman Douglas and the community of Parkland, what you're doing here today warms our hearts. The opportunity that you have to lead, the inspiration that you are taking from the student survivors of Stoneman Douglas
and that the country is taking from all of you is going to change America. And I'll make it really plain. This place behind us, where I work, hasn't done the job. But here's the truth. When it comes to leading the fight to require universal background checks, students will lead us. And when it comes to pushing forward until we ban high-capacity magazines, students will lead us. It is students who will lead us to keep weapons of war off our streets. And it is students who will organize and register and get out to vote and turn over the membership of this body so that the people who represent America really represent America and standing up for gun safety and keeping our kids safe. That's what you're going to do. I want to thank you on behalf of my entire community for your leadership here and for not just this today and walkouts all around the country, but for what's coming in just another week and a half. And I want to finish with a quote from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. She said this: "Speak up. Learn to talk clearly and forcefully in public. Speak simply and not too long at a time, without over-emotion, always from sound preparation and knowledge. Be a nuisance when it counts, but don't be a bore at any time. Do your part to inform and stimulate the public to join your action. Be depressed, discouraged, and disappointed at failure and the disheartening effects of ignorance and greed and corruption and bad politics, but never give up. I will see you in 10 days at the March for Our Lives." It's now my great honor to introduce a friend and a great representative for all of the people of Washington, D.C. and this entire area, my friend Eleanor Holmes Norton.
Well, you've just heard the voice of Parkland in the Congress of the United States. We are here to hear the voices of the generation that is going to bring sensible gun control to the United States of America. After 26 and 7-year-old kids were shot and killed at Sandy Hook, the students who escaped harm were too young to speak up for themselves. The students who escaped had to depend on their courageous parents who come every year to the Capitol to continue to speak for Sandy Hook and children all over America. But Parkland has inspired students too young to work, but old enough to become the first generation to fight for their own lives. I was in the sit-in generation on the front lines.
All right, guys, so it looks like for some reason, for just the moment, we lost that coverage of the rally on Capitol Hill with Eleanor Holmes Norton. She was up at the stand, the podium. We were hearing from lots of students teachers and, of course, congressmen and senators in the area. But I want to bring you also to another live look over in Columbine, Colorado, where we have live video coverage of the student walkouts, the protests that are happening over there. We were taking this to air a little bit earlier, but split screening it. So I'm not quite sure if some of you had trouble seeing that if you're on your phones, but quite powerful and really interesting to see Columbine's day here, part of the National School Walkout. Of course, they're remembering April 20th, 1999, their own school shooting back in the late 90s. And they also took part in a little bit of a remembrance here for the Parkland students, also students and staff who were killed 1 month ago today. So that's a live look at their demonstrations down City Street there in Columbine, Colorado. Take you back to Capitol Hill now. Looks like we just got this video back up.
South Columbia has to fight every Congress to defeat a bill that would wipe out all of the district's local gun laws. And the bill that would do that is led by Parkland Senator, Parkland, Florida's own Senator, Marco Rubio. And his bill to wipe out all of our gun laws includes a ban on the assault weapon like the AR-15 used to kill 17 kids at Parkland. I'll leave it to you to know what to do with him. But we in the district know what to do, and they're here from everywhere, from Marie Reed, from DC Prep, from KIPP, from Thurgood Marshall, from Wilson, from Roosevelt, from School Without Walls, from Cardozo, from Banneker, from Easton, and too many other schools to name. But I want to thank all, wherever you come from, in this new generation for your determination to do what we have failed to do. Americans will win this time because you are leading a new fight for sensible gun control. We are in line behind you this time. Together, we shall succeed. Thank you.
My name is Aaron Torup, and I'm a senior at American University, and Alyssa Al-Hadaf was my camper. I got to know how bubbly, intelligent, and caring she was over this past summer. On February 14th, she was killed at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Immediately afterwards, I flew down to Parkland, and 2 days later, I attended her funeral. The screams that I heard of her family members there are some of the only ways that people are able to cope with this grief. I also want to share the words this morning of Eden Hebron, another student at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, whom I know. She writes, "We were laughing and doing work, me and my best friend, but little did I know 5 minutes later, her life would come to an end. I hear a sound, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gunshots? That's funny, Alyssa. Of course we will survive. We live in Parkland, I thought. How could this be? But sometimes your thoughts are not what you see. All I could think of is how many will be left. The screams blasting in my ear. The blood still won't disappear. I scream their names. I call for my friends. Nothing else to do. They're gone. They're dead. No feelings, no emotion. How can we comprehend this traumatic distortion? There are no words to describe, nothing else to say that will justify my English class this Valentine's Day. The epidemic of gun violence has plagued our nation for far too long. Since Sandy Hook, there have been 1,607 mass shootings and over 33,000 people die every year due to gun violence. They are brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, cousins, and neighbors. Tomorrow, they could be us. It is time that we say enough. Enough to the NRA blocking gun violence prevention measures we know will save lives. Enough to the ban on the CDC researching gun violence. Enough to letting the assault weapons ban languish. Enough to letting gun violence rage unchecked in every state across this nation. Enough to buying guns without background checks. Enough is enough. In our Jewish faith, we read the words of Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our ancestors. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? We are standing up here for ourselves as students, as victims, and as survivors. We demand to be heard and will not back down until we are safe. We are not just standing up for ourselves. Gun violence does not only happen in schools. It happens everywhere. Unfortunately, some places more than others. And we know that some communities are more disproportionately impacted by gun violence than others. We are not just standing up to prevent gun violence in our schools, but in every community across America. And we must do this now. Every single day we fail to take action, more innocent lives are lost. It is a powerful truth to know as students that we are not the first students to organize and march against injustices. We are not the first young people to demand our country does more to protect us. We have great role models from previous generations who've shown us what it means to be student activists. We are not the students organizers of the 1960s, and we do not face the same obstacles they did. But if we are to be successful today and in the future, we must learn from them and emulate them. And that is why I am so proud to stand here today with Representative John Lewis. At the age of 20, John Lewis helped lead the Nashville sit-ins. He was one of the original freedom riders, and in 1963 became the chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Representative Lewis helped plan the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom and was severely beaten on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, leading marchers from Selma to Montgomery on what became known as Bloody Sunday, 53 years ago last week. Just like John Lewis, Julian Bond, Diane Nash, and so many others, we too will organize, demonstrate, and march. Change has come in this country when young people demand it, and we will not back down until it happens, won't we? We will register voters just like they did during Freedom Summer. We will walk out and march in the streets just like they did. We will stand up to the Bull Connors of our day, look them in the eyes, and tell them that we will not back down. We deserve to feel safe in our schools and our communities, and we will continue to follow in the footsteps of student activists from the years before us to make this a reality in our lifetime. It is my distinct honor and humble privilege to welcome the former student activist and representative from Georgia, John Lewis.
Thank you so much for those kind words of introduction. I'm delighted, very happy, and very pleased to see each and every one of you here. You're a good-looking group. You're beautiful, you're handsome, and I know you're very smart. Many years ago, when I had all of my hair and a few pounds lighter, I met Rosa Parks in 1957 when I was 17. The next year, in 1958, I met Martin Luther King Jr., and I got involved, and I have not looked back since. I say over and over again, when you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have a moral obligation to stand up and say something and do something. Thank you for doing something. You must never give up. Never give out. Never give in. Keep the faith and keep your eyes on the prize. You're going to win. And when you win, we all win. We're going to have a great victory. You know, the NRA don't like me. I don't care. You know, they gave me a grade of F. I have not received one dime or one penny from them. I don't want one dime, one penny, or $1. We have lost too many of our mothers, too many of our fathers, too many of our brothers and sisters, too many of our fellow students, too many of our teachers. You are the leaders of the 21st century. So I suggest to each and every one of you, read the literature of the civil rights movement. Watch the films, the videos. And whatever you do, do it in an orderly, peaceful, nonviolent fashion. You're going to have the victory. And it will be a victory for all of America. It will be a victory for our world. We must leave this little piece of real estate we call America. A little greener, a little cleaner, and a little more peaceful for generation yet unborn. Now, during the 60s, I got arrested a few times. 40 times. And since I've been in Congress 5 more times. And I'm probably going to get arrested again for something. Some of you may recall reading that a group of us, members of Congress, on the House side, had a sit-down in the well of the House for 26 hours, trying to get the Speaker and the leadership and the majority to bring forth a bill to deal with gun violence. They didn't. We may have to sit in again. But I will be there. I will be with you all of the way. So hang in there. Never give up. Never give in. Keep the faith. Keep your eyes on the prize, and you will have a great victory. Thank you very much. Now, it is my great pleasure to present to you Brenda Leviton, Montgomery Blair High School, one of the leaders for Montgomery County Student for Gun Control. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for coming to join us today. We have heard powerful words from students and members of Congress joining together in the fight to end gun violence. I am awed and inspired by all of you. When we started Montgomery County Students for Gun Control, we wanted to give students a voice in this fight. Today, we proved that we are here. We have a voice, and we will not be silent. Our lives are at stake, and it is too important to back down. This may be the end of our demonstration, but we are nowhere near done with this fight. Woo! The only way we will succeed is through unrelenting advocacy. Together, this is possible. Remember, if you can speak, speak. If you can march, march. And when you can vote, vote. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day, and I will see you March 24.
So quite a large turnout here, guys, for students both nationwide and, of course, here at the Capitol. This demonstration having gone on for a few hours now. If you've been watching with us on YouTube, let us know what you think, any thoughts or comments. She mentioned at the end that she will see everyone on March 24th. We'll be streaming a live edition here from our digital newsroom of that March for Our Lives. It'll be down in the National Mall and downtown DC. We'll have cameras everywhere. We'll have lots of footage and taking in everything social media wise and video wise for you guys. So we're going to let this video play out just a little bit longer here, and then we'll transfer our digital coverage over to our other social networks and our website, fox5dc.com, where you can get all the updates, the stories, the embedded tweets, and everything that we have pulled from today's action. We've clipped out some of the video for you guys. You can see here now the camera sort of panning to some of the signs and the students there in the cold weather here on the Capitol lawn, the west lawn of the Capitol, where lawmakers and students turned out in droves today for this rally. So what a day here for DC students, guys. The DMV, all participating students from Virginia, Maryland, and the district. We had cameras down at the White House. If you missed some of this stream and you want to go back and replay it, when we shut this down in just a few moments here, you can go back to the beginning of our stream and catch some of that video. The 17-minute sort of moment of silence demonstration outside of the White House, and also happening across the nation in their local times. Students really from coast to coast joined in arms, guys, to come together to rally and essentially, especially in DC here, lobby Congress to make some moves on gun violence. The board here that we were just showing you on Twitter were some local schools, middle schools and high schools, who actually participated in more in-house, on-campus demonstrations, whether they were just sit-ins or reflections or lie-ins. Lots of students had different ways to sort of spread the peace today and remember the 17 victims of Parkland, and also think about what it means for our future of young people, for our future in politics as well. So lots of ways that students were protesting today, ways that they were coming together and rallying and commemorating, of course, the victims of the shooting 1 month ago today. Now, this does not end for the coverage of some of these rallies and protests. We're going to have a full sort of day-long event on Saturday, March 24th. Here in the DC studio, we're going to be covering the March for Our Lives, where hundreds and thousands of students from across the country are slated to come to DC and march in Capitol Hill, march in the National Mall. So there'll be lots more coverage. We'll post some interviews of some of the students that are leading that charge, and we'll have lots more for you from inside this newsroom. So definitely stay tuned to us for that. And if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to our YouTube channel, become a subscriber with the red button that says subscribe, and you can join us daily for our news coverage. And then, of course, for our special coverage on March 24th. Protests and sort of gatherings and rallies are going to continue, I know, on April 20th to commemorate the Columbine shooting. More students will be walking out and holding moments of silence for those students. So lots of stuff going on this month and into next. But that does it, guys, for our digital coverage in studio today. We'll catch you again tomorrow at 11:30. And if not, definitely come to us for our coverage of the March for Our Lives on Saturday, March 24th. We'll see you then. Take care, guys. We'll leave you with a shot that we still have coming out of Columbine, Colorado. Students walking out today on this National School Walkout, March 14th, 2018. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.